This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Upcoming featured entertainment includes Buck Cherry on the 13th and Soulja Boy on the 21st. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. The Icelandic blues rock group Kaleo performs live at the Anthem in Washington, D.C. on Monday. I spoke to lead singer JJ about the band's coolest songs, from the world-famous hit Way Down We Go to the Grammy-nominated No Good. Hey, JJ of Kaleo. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
We're talking because Kaleo, the hit band, is going to be coming to the Anthem in DC on Monday, September 16th. You're calling it the Payback Tour. Why are we calling it this? Who are we paying back?
Well, to be honest, we call it the Payback Tour because we're actually working our way out of debt. We're a big band. We have 2 tour buses and a truck, and it's challenging, but making steps in the right direction, and we thought to call it the Payback Tour.
So what put you in debt, if you don't mind me? Like, you mean just the post-COVID, the whole world changing and live concerts being out for several years?
I mean, COVID didn't help, and obviously, we feel like the artists should be getting paid more in every aspect of the game. So I hope that environment changes soon. But we're doing what we can, and we're happy to be back on the road and playing for the fans. That's why we do it.
Absolutely. Everyone that buys a ticket to see you at the Anthem are going to help on the Payback Tour. But you guys are a great band. I don't think you'll have any problem as you tour here. Is this going to be your first time playing the Anthem in DC?
I'm pretty sure this is our second time. I think we played it about 2 years ago, and it must have been pretty brand new at the time, but such a beautiful venue, man, like right on the water. So we're super excited to be back.
Yeah, I think it opened in maybe like 2018, something like that.
Okay,
around there. 2017, somewhere around there. So yeah, it was pretty new by the time you played it the last time. But we're excited to have you back. And I assume you'll be playing just one more about the actual show. Are you playing anything new, or is it going to be like sprinkling in, the greatest hits from your other albums?
Yeah, no, we are, man. Obviously, the hits we as well. We love to kind of give everyone what they want. Usually when I go see the Stones or anyone else, I obviously want to hear the hits too. So I like that part. But yeah, we've been trying out some new songs, and it's been really enjoyable, playing some of the stuff that we put out already this year from the record that's coming out soon. And then we've even thrown in a song or two that hasn't been released, just to kind of get, the response and everything. So it's been really exciting.
Awesome. When's the new one come out?
We're hoping later this year or next year. We've been putting out some singles so far this year. I think we plan on putting 1 or 2 more out, but hopefully as soon as possible, like right around the new year.
Awesome. Well, we invite everyone to stay tuned for that and come out to the Anthem on the 16th to maybe get a preview of a little bit of what we might hear on that album. That's going to be fun. Awesome. Well, it's going to be a fun show. And whenever I have someone on, I always sort of like to, in addition to teasing the show itself, I love to remind a bit of the origin story, the history of the band, that kind of stuff. So I know you were born, JJ, you were born in Iceland in 1990. I know you moved to Denmark for a little bit, but then back to Iceland for like your teenage years and stuff. So, during all that time, what sort of music spoke to you? What sort of, did you listen to growing up?
Well, I mean, I would say I call it, roots music, and everybody's so curious about Iceland, and obviously extremely proud and from being from Iceland, and I think it obviously shapes you as a person and probably artistically in many ways as well. But to be honest, yeah, my influences are like roots music. Most of them kind of recorded back in the day, early last century, in America. So that was kind of always the dream, I guess. Recording and touring in the US as we have been doing for the past 9 years or so. So yeah, I mean, roots music, meaning folk, meaning blues, obviously, even country music, and kind of, always been a fan of all kinds of music. I started out on classical piano, then went into jazz piano for a bit, and then obviously a huge fan of basically most music recorded, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just, I take inspiration from many places, and I try to just not limit myself to a single genre. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I love roots music. My wife and I were just at a
Mm.
roots music festival last week and a weekend before in Front Royal, Virginia. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
but you know how these things like evolve and they change names. Like now there's a new term for Americana music, doesn't really matter much to me, but yeah, I think it all comes from, the origin and I'm still very much into like, original like roots music. So I connect a lot. I mostly listen to old music, I guess. Even Icelandic stuff. I love the old songs. That's kind
awesome.
of why I've been doing these new renditions of Icelandic songs. We just released another one this past June. That's like an old lullaby.
I love it. There's something
Mm.
eternal about that, you know. It's one
Right.
of my favorite genres. I love it.
Me too.
Awesome. Well then, all right, so that's you growing up. But how about, when you're actually forming the band Kaleo? Yeah, I guess it happens in Iceland in 2012. How
Mm.
did you actually meet the original lineup and pick the name Kaleo?
Yeah. Two of my boys were in school with me. We met when we were around 14, 15. Everybody was hugely into rock music, classic rock. So we bonded over that. And I've been writing songs obviously for a long time. Around probably 17, 18, we were like, we should jam. So we did. I think even our school provided us with a rehearsal space at the time. And we kind of went for a few years doing covers, around town, actually making decent money. Uh, and kind of finishing up school. The rest of the boys were just, running around and we're doing this thing on the weekend, performing. And kind of saved money up to go into the studio. And finally we were like, well, I said, I have all these songs. You just create a new band and do my songs. So we did, and we people, and we ended up basically the front line that you see today on stage.
Fantastic. And just to underscore, Kaleo means what?
Right, Kaleo. It means the sound in Hawaiian. I mean, it's probably a little more challenging finding a name for a band in 2012 than it was, in the 1940s. A lot of them were taken,
All the good
but
ones are taken.
yeah, all the good ones were taken, right? And the Beatles wrote all the good songs, and Dylan used up all the good words.
Yeah.
No, but we just found it, being sounded kind of international, which was kind of what we were going for. I mean, I think we always, wanted to get out in the world further than Iceland, but we kind of, yeah, we like the meaning, and it kind of had a ring to it, so that kind of stuck pretty quick.
Well, I think it's great. I don't think all the good names have been taken because Kaleo was there and you took it. So there's
Well,
still some good ones.
there you
um,
go.
well, that's great. All right. Well, tell us. I know there was some like early indie recordings, etc., but the real breakthrough album was A/B in 2016. That's
Right.
when you all went like world globally famous, especially with that hit song "Way Down We Go." It's
Mm.
it's it's still catchy. If it's still, I just played it a few minutes ago. It's awesome. I know when it came out, it topped the Billboard Alternative Songs chart and the Rock Airplay chart. It even, did pretty well on like the overall mainstream, Hot 100 pop chart.
Right.
How did you come up with the song? Do you know which one of you wrote it?
Oh, I did. I write the songs.
Yeah.
Um, well, how did I write it? Well, how do you write any song? I don't know, like receive them, I guess. But I think I was just extremely influenced by some blues at the time. To me, it's kind of a blues song, really. Um, and I think, yeah, and then you just, go into the studio and obviously went more of like for hip hop drums, if you like, production wise, and kind of gave it that extra lift. but yeah, I would say that it's kind of a very bluesy song to begin with.
Well, absolutely. And everyone around the world fell in love with that song. It's such a good
Hmm.
song. So congrats. I can't, sometimes I have to pinch myself. I can't believe the voice on the other end of this microphone is, connected to the hand that wrote that song. It's awesome. That's so cool. Well,
Wow.
I know in addition to being a huge, famous song, on the radio, it was used in the movie trailer for, Hugh Jackman and Logan and the TV trailer for Orange is the New Black. Like, um,
Right.
why is it so important for the band to, stretch out and transcend onto the screen? And also, do you kind of giggle to yourself if you're in the movie theater and you hear your own song?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it's a cool thing in the world. I mean, so much has changed. I remember like, the Doors or the Led Zeppelin and people like not including their music in form of TV back in the day because it was all about like image and not selling out. That's really changed. It took me a while to understand that. But we've been very lucky with our sync team at Warner and everything. I mean, yeah, we were the most synced artist in America in 2017 or 18,
Oh wow,
meaning like we had the most sync on film, TV, and video games, etc. But
awesome.
yeah, I see it as like honestly being kind of a new radio, if you like. I mean, it's just really great exposure to people that yeah wouldn't have been exposed to the music. And I mean, cinema is strong, man. I mean, we've seen, these old songs be included in these big films and they go number one again, like it's the power of cinema because, cinema is a beautiful art form, bringing together all the art forms and senses. So I think it's a great thing, and I hope that continues, man. Would love to work with some cool directors and some cool visionaries out
You hear that, folks? If there's any directors listening to this, tap
there.
Kaleo for some more music. But that's an
Yeah,
interesting point you said about how the Doors, would view it as selling out back in the day. But I
right.
know Coppola, legendary, used the Doors in Apocalypse Now, but I guess that would have been like 8 years after Jim Morrison had passed, so
Yeah,
it was
Jim
different at
wasn't
that
having
point.
it, I don't think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Do you have a favorite movie, by the way? What? Or actually, let me ask this: which director?
Oh,
I'm freestyling now, but which director would you want to be in their movie? Or, Tarantino, of course,
yeah,
Scorsese,
of
or who?
course. Obviously, those two you mentioned. I mean, Scorsese and Jagger did use one of our tracks, No Good, for their TV show Vinyl
Mhm.
a couple years back. But no, I mean, I love PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson stuff as well. I mean,
He's
you
awesome.
said it, Scorsese, Tarantino, Wes Anderson. There's so many great ones, and there's still like new great directors. So I'm excited for cinema, man, and I think yeah, it's a powerful thing. So I hope that continues for sure. And same goes for TV, I guess. That's really picked up, I think, as well. And documentaries, especially since COVID. I think, people are watching stuff more at home and streaming more. So, hopefully it's all for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. It nowadays it's good to be on as many platforms as possible.
Mm,
That's fantastic. All right, well, moving right along. So, that same album also had "No Good," which was another really cool song, and gets nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock
mm,
Performance. Well, you said "Way Down We Go" just sort of came to you. So, how about
mm.
"No Good"? And any good memories of actually recording that in the studio or writing it? I always like to know the creative spark that comes up with a song.
I don't know, man. I like to like write riffs. I like worship rock and roll music, and I love to perform it. There's obviously a lot of energy. So that one is great to play live. I remember, we had played it live for years before we recorded it, really. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's the kind of music I really enjoy performing live. I just went to like an AC/DC concert a couple months back. That kind of music is meant to be played live, But
Absolutely.
no, I mean another blues track for sure, but kind of rock and roll. Like I said, yeah, I do love that style of music. I would love to see more of that kind of come back. I feel
Hell
like
yeah.
it's been a while since we had some real rock and roll.
Hell yeah. It used to be rock and roll was like the main music. Now,
Mm,
yeah, now it's like on the fringes. We got to bring it back.
I would love
Um,
it, man.
I
Some
love
people would.
Love it. It was a great song, and yes, it got the Grammy nomination. Sadly, I hate to say lost because there's no losers really. It's all just award. But
Not when you lose to
you
Leonard
can say you
Cohen that
lost to
just
Leonard
passed
Cohen.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
Um,
he just, I mean, I think he should have won anyways. Great
yeah.
album.
Yeah, he had died what in 2016, I guess, like right before that,
Yeah.
and
Should
so
have
had
come like huge.
your fellow nominee
Right.
Chris Cornell had also passed right before that. So sadly, you're probably
Right.
showing up to the awards, and you didn't get to meet many of your fellow nominees. But so did that make it sort of bittersweet?
We were nominated for the TV, the fancy one, so we were just kind of freezing. It was actually in New York that year. So no, we were just kind of freezing for a while, and we didn't end up going to the televised thing. So nothing fancy, but some good after parties,
Yeah.
and yeah, actually kind of honored to lose to Leonard Cohen. He's one of my heroes. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was smiling down, waving his award in your face from beyond.
Mm,
um, all right, and then the next album, of course, Surface Sounds in 2021. Folks will remember tracks like Skinny and I Want More. I know you played. I think you
mm,
played I Want More on Colbert. I believe I remember. Um,
right.
but yeah, like that putting together that album must have been different than the previous work you'd done, like because of the pandemic. How did that affect the writing and recording? Like, was a lot of it written before COVID happened, or was this all during the pandemic?
I mean, all of my albums are basically I write a lot of the songs beforehand. I try to keep some like fresh in there because I like the approach of both, but I take a long time crafting my songs. So usually, it's something that I've been working on for a long time, waiting to kind of get busy on. But yeah, I definitely had more time, I would say, on the Surface Sounds one. So I did try to sonically like explore more. And I do think that, it was a learning experience for me as well. I'm obviously producing myself as well as, with some of my collaborators in the studio. And I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Most of it recorded in the Nashville, which has become like a second home to me. Easy to record there with their, 200 virtual studios and then thousands home studios.
Yeah,
So really easy to get work there. And then obviously, just amazing session players you can call in and a really nice community. So yeah, I'm proud of that record. And yeah, we're playing a lot of those songs live.
so
So
we'll hear
yeah.
a lot of Surface Sounds at the anthem. All right, well, so that comes out in 2021, and that kind of brings us to the present because, like you're saying,
Mm,
that we're now sort of in that gap where you're paying back debt now. We're at the payback
right,
tour. Um,
right.
but yeah. So do we know the name of the next album that's coming up yet? Is it called Payback or is it still to be determined?
It is not called Payback. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to my manager or PR artist before I tell you the name. I'm not sure if we're doing that
That's
yet,
all right. That's all
but
right.
sorry about that. Yeah,
No worries at all. All right. Well, then just, but you've been really generous with your time, but I
of
wanted to
course.
ask, like, I know, you all have played like some of the biggest festivals out there in the world, Coachella,
Hmm.
Lollapalooza, Bonnaroo. Like, do you have a favorite of them? Or if it's hard to pick a favorite, just compare for me, what it's like playing those. For those of us, that have never been or maybe only been to one of them, what is it like as an artist playing a Coachella versus a Lollapalooza, etc.
That's actually a great question. Yeah, it's tough to say, man. I mean, it's like our experience, I assume, is just so different from the consumer, or the fans, that attend. But I mean, it was really special for us going to. I remember going to South America with the Lollapalooza franchise, doing Brazil, Argentina, Chile. But obviously, going to a new country also plays a big factor. We just went to Morocco this year to perform at a festival. But yeah, I think they're all, they're different, but in a good way. I mean, I'd love to play a couple that we haven't done still. It's like Stagecoach, we haven't done that. We haven't done Glastonbury,
Yeah.
that would be that would be sick. But yeah, I mean, no, it's fun. It's usually during summer or good weather. So Yeah, um, not really one that stands out, I guess. A lot of good ones, man. ACL, Austin, yeah, Coachella, you know. We had a pretty good one in Iceland, actually, called Iceland Airwaves.
Iceland
It's
Airwaves.
yeah, we do have to do that one inside. The weather can be nasty in early November. Oh, it usually takes place inside.
In the cold November rain.
Mm,
uh, that was a random Guns N' Roses reference, but I did want to actually ask you about opening up for the Rolling Stones. You mentioned them earlier in the interview, and a lot of folks,
mm.
I would probably agree that opening for the freaking Rolling Stones is probably just as big, if not bigger, than any of the music festivals we just mentioned. That is
Yeah,
all time stuff. So, what was it like
yeah.
when they asked you? You know what I mean? How did that happen? And were you just like we just feel like you were living a dream, touring with Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Like that's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people have opened for the Stones though, but
Yeah, they
no,
played forever.
obviously, yeah, exactly. Longest living franchise there is, right? I mean, what are they, 62, 63 years on the road now? It's crazy.
Nuts.
No, but they're obviously legends, living legends, and to get to spend time with both Keith and Mick, I mean, and then just to honestly just, watch them play even after you finish your set and just go out there and watch them, still got it. You can learn a lot, man. And their longevity is, of course, just something to look up to, man. And hope that, one day you can have a slice of that. It's pretty amazing. And the empire that they've built and how much it means to the hundreds of thousands of people, even, attending to each show. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is.
Maybe Mick will write one called "Moves Like JJ."
Right.
Uh, That's great. That's great. All right. Well, as we wind this thing down a little bit, I wanted to remind it's not only are you opening for legendary bands like Rolling Stones, you've done big things yourself, and I want to tell everybody you've had like your band Kaleo has had like 4 billion global streams around the world. How
Mm.
has streaming and technology changes, all of that, allowed a band like you know, in Iceland to reach a global audience? Do you think it helps you reach it faster, or are in light of what you were saying about paying back debt and everything, is it or
Right.
is there not are artists not still not getting enough of a cut, a percentage of those streaming money?
Yeah, I mean, it's the double-edged sword, right? I mean, absolutely, the artist is not getting enough unless you're an independent artist, which unfortunately we're not. But of course, I think it has you can reach the amount of people, in the amount of time you can reach people. It's insane at this point. And, obviously, exactly, our numbers are crazy and we're grateful. And that's the reason we get to travel the world. And, like 8,000 people are waiting for you in Turkey or wherever you go, just, singing along to your songs the first time you arrive there. So, it's good and bad, but, no, at the end of the day, we're grateful and, you know, getting to do what you love to do and for millions of people to hear it. I mean, but technology is amazing. I'm a consumer as well, It helped me probably get influenced by all this great roots music that I was talking about earlier. I mean, I did have access to, like we all do now, like all this access to all this music. But at the same time, it doesn't really make sense that, a CD or a vinyl used to be $20 and now you pay $20 a month to access of all of music in the world.
Yeah.
It is strange how fast, things have things have changed. But I'm stay positive and hope that someday, there's a better format in some way for the artist. They should be getting a better cut. So I think it's okay to, put that out there, especially for future musicians, because it's not easy, but there's a reason why we do it. We all love it, and you can't really replace. I think COVID was one of the things too that showed us, you can't really replace live music, and that's a fact. It's not the same streaming a concert as going to the concert. And in many ways, we kind of lost that too with, vinyl and even CDs going away because now it hits midnight and you press play on your streaming device. It was more of a thing where you go to the store and you have to pay for it physically. You have to wrap up the plastic, put the thing on turntable and everything.
Which
But you know,
unwrapping the
right,
plastic and that little sticky thing would be hard sometimes. You
right,
get your fingernail in there and it would get it stuck. And
yeah,
half of
yeah,
it would open, but the other half wouldn't, and you break the case sometime.
yeah. I still do it, man. I still love the vinyl, and
Yeah.
obviously for us that do put a lot of effort into the record, you know, the album, it's still like like a thing for us. But you know, all things are, you know, pros and cons, man. I think, you know, we're also benefiting a lot from everything else. And if you think about it, people maybe don't realize too that back in the day, like I remember Keith talking about that, like even back in the day with the vinyls and stuff, and then the tape, you know, the cassettes and stuff, people are also bootlegging things quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of always been around there. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're born in 90, I was born in 84. We're roughly around the same
Yeah.
age, though, but so much has changed even in our lifetimes, you know, man. Like it was the old way that we were talking about where we would invest in buying an album at a store. Like sadly that changed, I don't know, right around the turn of the millennium and Napster
Yeah.
and all the file sharing and stuff,
Of
burning
course.
CDs, etc. And I feel like here we are, a couple decades later and the industry's still trying to we're still playing catch up on like, well, wait a minute, those
Yeah.
rules aren't really fair now. And how do we compensate the artist and the streaming? It probably is going not, you guys probably aren't getting enough of a cut of each time someone hits play on
Yeah.
Spotify or
And
whatever.
it's hard to keep up with, right? I mean, technology in general, and now the AI thing and people's identity, you know, I don't have the answers, but I
No,
think it's good, you know, to have critical thinking and be aware, you know. So, but yeah, man, I'm hopeful and grateful. Like I said, you know, it's amazing. We're seeing a lot of benefits as well, and we're excited to be out and about, man, playing shows and connecting with people.
it's awesome. Yeah, well, we don't always have to have the answers, but as long as we're posing the questions in public
Right.
forums, and hopefully someone smarter than you and me will figure it out. uh,
Exactly.
That's great. All right. Well, you've been so awesome. I didn't know we get to talk for like a half hour. This is fantastic. So I'll let
Yeah.
you run. But finals, I want to end on a final seconds, like a really lighthearted
Yeah.
question. Because we talked about movies a lot in this interview. The first time, this is gonna sound so lame, but the first time I ever heard about Iceland was watching The Mighty Ducks 2.
You're not the only one, man. Iceland is what? Iceland is green and Greenland is ice. Is that the
That
one?
literally,
The
yes,
quote?
that taught me more than
Wow.
like being in
Yeah.
probably in elementary school class should have taught me that. But instead, I
Yeah.
learned that Iceland is green and Greenland is ice. But what was your take when I mean, they're portrayed as like the freaking villains in that movie, but Iceland's a beautiful place. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. I think my cousin was in that movie, played the woman in that film. They
Wait,
love
which
that
one?
show.
You mean the coach
Wasn't the girl? Yeah, the coach, right? That was
or the
yeah,
girlfriend
yeah.
of the coach? Something. I gotta go rewatch it.
Right. Yeah,
Well, that's
same, same.
eating ice cream with the enemy, Gordon Bombay.
Funny enough, we don't even have a national team in hockey in Iceland. It's a shame, man. Soccer is the big sport there.
You used to play that a lot growing up. I read you're a big football
Oh
fan,
yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
soccer. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
if
yeah.
nothing else, that movie gave us Keenan Thompson and the Knuckle Puck. He's done well for himself. SNL,
True.
etc.
No, I gotta go. What's that?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, JJ. You're awesome, man. Again,
Thank you, brother.
everybody, the band Kaleo is coming to the Anthem on Monday, September 16th. Get your tickets now. Help contribute towards the payback of the payback tour. You guys, all the best. Seriously, keep it many more years of music to come.
Thanks a lot, brother. Hope to see you at the show.
All right, be well. See ya.
All right, take care, man. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.